Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is worn, familiar, but leads you back into a cycle of frustration and dissatisfaction. The other, less traveled, marked by signposts that seem counterintuitive at first glance. These signs, these Stoic don'ts, that appear to be restrictions, are anything but. In truth, they are liberations. They free us from the chains of our base instincts and societal pressures, guiding us towards a life of contentment and resilience. But what makes these don'ts so powerful? It's their ability to flip our perspective, to turn our gaze inward, and to challenge the narratives we've been spoon-fed by society. They teach us to embrace change, to value our inner voice, to let go of the petty and the vengeful. They urge us not to start our days burdened by the past, to cherish our solitude, and to find strength in our convictions without the need for external validation. Why focus on the don'ts, you might ask yourself? Well, sometimes knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to chase. It's like knowing not to touch a hot stove. Saves you a world of pain and lets you cook your meal in peace, right? 9 Stoic Don'ts is more than a guide. It's a manifesto for emancipation from the external forces that bind us, urging us to look within for the serenity and purpose we seek. A journey into the heart of the most powerful practical philosophy, one that doesn't merely scratch the surface, offering quick fixes for temporary contentment. Instead, it demands a seismic shift in how we view ourselves and our place in the world. It is a philosophy that equips us with the tools to break free from the chains of societal expectations and to forge a life that is truly our own, defined by self-awareness, virtue, and an indomitable spirit. As we journey through the 9 Stoic Don'ts, prepare to challenge the norms, to question the habits and desires that have long steered your course. This path is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who dare to confront the status quo, who are ready to dismantle old patterns and build anew. It's for those few who don't just like to hear what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. But most importantly, it is for the chosen few who don't shy away from getting real with themselves, from stripping away the layers of societal expectations and personal delusions, to reveal the raw, unvarnished truth of who we are. Now, are you ready? Then grab a shovel, because we are digging deep. Don't have an opinion.
You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone.
In a world where everyone has a platform and opinions fly as freely as leaves in a storm, it's tempting to join the fray, isn't it? To have a say on every topic under the sun, from the intricacies of global politics to the latest celebrity gossip. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, do I need to weigh in on everything? What does it truly add to my life or to the lives of others? Stoicism invites us to entertain these questions, not as a call to disengagement, but as a challenge to refine our focus and direct our energies where they matter most. Think of your mental energy as a precious resource, like water in a desert. Would you let it scatter aimlessly into the sand, or would you channel it purposefully, nurturing life and growth where it can flourish? Stoicism teaches us the latter approach, urging us to discipline our minds to focus on what is truly within our control and sphere of influence. This isn't about ignorance or apathy, it's about intentional engagement with the world. The Stoic principle of questioning the necessity and value of our judgments doesn't mean we become passive observers of life, stripped of opinions and principles. Far from it. It means we become more selective, more deliberate. We choose to invest our mental energy in understanding issues deeply rather than skimming the surface of many. This selectivity frees us from the mental clutter of unnecessary conflict and the emotional turmoil of contentious debates that often lead nowhere. By embracing this Stoic discipline, we acknowledge our limitations in knowledge and perspective. This is not a sign of weakness, but a profound strength. It opens the door to learning, growth, and genuine understanding. We reserve our judgments for matters where we are truly informed and where our voice adds value, leading to constructive rather than divisive outcomes. This restraint in forming and expressing opinions also cultivates inner peace. Imagine the tranquility that comes from not being constantly embroiled in every possible argument or upset over issues beyond your control. This peace isn't just beneficial for us. It radiates outward, influencing our interactions with others and contributing to a more thoughtful and compassionate world. Not liking the fact that racism's on the rise? Sure, you have the right to not like it, but getting upset about it? Don't you think you can do better? Why not do something about it? Start small, treat people you'd consider mistreated with kindness. And if you don't want to stop at that, then by all means, go big. Invest in channels you can control to bring about the change you want to see in the world around you. This Stoic practice allows us to focus our energy on personal growth and virtuous action. In a landscape often dominated by the superficial and ephemeral, choosing to engage deeply and meaningfully with the world around us is a radical act. It's a commitment to living a life of purpose, guided by principles and informed by a genuine desire to contribute positively. Whenever you feel the urge to jump into the latest debate or controversy, take a moment to reflect. Consider whether your engagement is driven by a genuine understanding and a desire to contribute constructively. Remember, in the economy of our attention and mental resources, where we choose to invest makes all the difference. Let's choose wisely, guided by the wisdom of Stoicism, and make our contributions count where they truly matter. Don't look for outside approval.
I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others.
Ever felt like a puppet dancing on the strings of others' opinions and expectations? In today's world, where likes, shares, and followers can seem like currency, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking external validation for our worth. But what if there's a way to cut those strings and dance to your own rhythm? Stoicism offers us a liberating perspective, the cultivation of self-validation and finding our worth within, not in the applause or approval of the crowd. Imagine living a life where your confidence doesn't waver with the tide of public opinion, but is anchored deep within, in your adherence to virtue, reason, and personal excellence. This isn't a call to become indifferent to others, but an invitation to ground your sense of worth in something more stable and enduring than the shifting sands of societal approval. Stoicism teaches us that external validation is fleeting, often out of sync with our true selves, and a shaky foundation for our self-esteem. Humans have a very specific problem, thanks to our ability to reason. You know, the very thing Stoicism asks us to employ to get rid of our problems. Isn't that a masterstroke right there? But here's that specific problem. Humans get bored of everything eventually, and when not bored, not interested anymore. People who admire you, ones who applaud you constantly, can't do it forever. And here's a fun fact: they give up much earlier. Even when you have what they want, it only takes so much of it for them to get over it. By focusing on self-validation, we build robust inner confidence. This confidence is rooted in our capabilities, our efforts, and our commitment to living according to our principles. It's a type of self-reliance that is incredibly empowering, providing us with the resilience to face life's ups and downs without being unduly swayed by external judgments. This doesn't mean we disregard feedback or constructive criticism, but we learn to discern what truly matters and what aligns with our values. Detaching our sense of worth from external validation allows us to make choices based on what we know to be right and good, not on what we think will win us favor or admiration. It liberates us from the exhausting cycle of chasing approval and enables us to focus on personal growth, virtuous living, and genuine self-expression. In doing so, we find a deeper sense of fulfillment and contentment, for we are living authentically, true to ourselves and our standards of virtue and excellence. This Stoic tenet doesn't just benefit us individually, it has the power to transform our relationships and communities. When we stop seeking validation from outside and start valuing our inner worth, our interactions become more sincere, our connections deeper, and our contributions more meaningful. We become more grounded, more present, and ultimately more authentically engaged with the world around us. So the next time you catch yourself looking outward for affirmation, remember that the most profound validation comes from within, from living a life in alignment with your values and virtues. Let this Stoic wisdom guide you to a place of inner strength and confidence, where your worth is not determined by external accolades, but by your commitment to living a virtuous and meaningful life. In embracing self-validation, we find the freedom to be our best selves, unencumbered by the need for external approval, and empowered to navigate life with resilience and authenticity. Don't fear change.
Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters.
Change, this elusive, ever-present force, akin to the unpredictable weather patterns we often grumble about. One day it's all sunshine and clear skies. The next, a storm looms on the horizon, unexpected and uninvited. But isn't it true that we secretly thrill at the drama of a sudden downpour, the way it refreshes the air, clears the dust, and brings a new perspective to the familiar landscapes of our lives? Now you might be thinking, but change is hard, it's uncomfortable, and I just got things the way I like them. And who could blame you? It's human nature to seek comfort, to build our little nests and feather them with our habits, routines, and the people we know like the back of our hand. But here's the twist. Just as the seasons cycle from spring to winter, bringing a variety of experiences and colors to our world, so too does change cycle through our lives, offering us a richer variety of experiences that shape us, mold us, and, yes, challenge us. The Stoics saw it not as an adversary to be feared and avoided, but as a companion on the journey of life, a teacher offering lessons in flexibility, resilience, and the art of maintaining our composure in the face of life's ceaseless ebb and flow. Don't just accept change, embrace it. They seem to whisper across the ages. See it as the universe's invitation to grow, to learn, and to become a fuller version of yourself. Imagine for a moment standing at the edge of a river, watching the water flow by. You see leaves, branches, and the occasional paper boat swept along by the current. This river doesn't resist the changes in its course, the fluctuating water levels, or the debris it carries. Instead, it adapts, flowing around obstacles, always moving, always finding a way forward. That's the Stoics' approach to change. Be like the river, fluid and adaptable, not rigid and unyielding. Applying this ancient wisdom to our modern lives starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing change as a disruptor of our peace, we can see it as an opportunity to practice our virtues, courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom in new and challenging situations. If you're a Stoic, you're already familiar with the struggle you embodied to become virtuous. as well as the sweet victory of coming out virtuous from tough situations. But if you aren't a practicing Stoic, and should you try to become one, you must know that the practice of virtues when change isn't desirable is the defining trait of a Stoic. There's a flip side too. It can keep you from becoming one just as easily. Know why? Because it's easy to get lost in the twisted narrative of self-importance and not caring about others that is so often thrown around by people who don't understand Stoicism. To make matters worse, they never put effort into understanding it either, and when, by mere chance they do, they misunderstand it. Remember, being virtuous brings us closer. And yes, this approach to change requires a bit of courage, a dash of optimism, and a healthy dose of self-belief. But remember, every great journey begins with a single step, or, in this case, a single shift in perspective. So, the next time change comes knocking at your door, maybe, just maybe, you'll welcome it in, offer it a seat, and listen to what it has to teach you. After all, as Seneca reminded us, life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters. Let's make our play a masterpiece, embracing change as the path to growth, wisdom, and a life well lived. Ask yourself, is this essential?
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
Ever found yourself fuming over the coffee spilled on your freshly ironed shirt, or the internet glitching right when you were about to hit send on an important email? It's like those moments are tailor-made to test our patience, isn't it? But here's the real question. Will these annoyances matter a week from now, a year from now, or are they just blips on the radar of life, momentarily frustrating but ultimately insignificant? This is where Stoicism, with its age-old wisdom, steps in like a wise old friend, urging us to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Think of it this way. If life were a book, would you want it filled with chapters of you getting upset over the small stuff, or would you rather fill it with stories of adventures, challenges overcome, and lessons learned? The Stoics, those serene sages of the ancient world, offer us a tool for this, the discipline of perception. It's like putting on a pair of glasses that helps us see the difference between the mountain and the molehill, guiding us to invest our energy wisely. By practicing this discipline, we learn to pause, breathe, and ask ourselves, is this really worth my peace of mind? You might be thinking, but it's not that easy to just let things go. And you're right, it's not about ignoring the small stuff or pretending it doesn't bother us. It's about choosing not to let it control us. It's deciding that our tranquility, our inner peace, is worth more than the temporary satisfaction of fretting over every little thing that doesn't go our way. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you weren't carrying the weight of every minor irritation. Picture a day where you can smile at the coffee stain on your shirt, seeing it not as a disaster, but a reminder that life is unpredictable and that's okay. This doesn't mean we become indifferent or uncaring. Rather, it means we become more focused, directing our emotional energy towards what truly matters, our personal growth, our loved ones, our passions. By not sweating the small stuff, we free ourselves to pursue a life of meaning, to cultivate our virtues, and to maintain equanimity in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. We start living a life that's less about reacting to every little bump in the road and more about enjoying the journey with all its twists and turns. Next time you find yourself getting worked up over something small, take a moment. Ask yourself if it's really worth your peace. Remember, it's not about the coffee stain, it's about how you choose to react to it. As Marcus Aurelius pointed out, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Value your opinion over others.
Be content to seem what you really are.
Ever felt like you're on stage, the spotlight glaring down, as you try to perform a role dictated by someone else's script? You're not alone. It's a common human experience driven by our deep-seated desire to fit in, to be liked, and to be part of the tribe. But here's the kicker. While seeking applause from the audience, are we losing sight of what makes our own story unique, compelling, and frankly, worth living? Stoicism, like a backstage mentor, whispers in our ear that the script we ought to follow is the one we write for ourselves. Stoicism isn't about shutting out the world. Rather, it's about discerning which parts of the world's chorus harmonize with our inner voice and which parts are just noise, distracting us from our path. Consider this. When you value someone else's opinion over your own, you're essentially handing them the pen to write your life story. Sure, feedback is like a mirror, reflecting aspects of ourselves we might overlook. However, Stoicism teaches us to ensure that the mirror is in our own hands, guiding us to align our reflections with reason, virtue, and our authentic selves. So, how do we cultivate this self-reliance and sound judgment? It starts with a simple yet profound shift, turning inward. It's about asking ourselves, what truly matters to me? Not to our parents, not to our peers, not to the influencers on social media, but to us as individuals with unique dreams, values, and principles. Building this inner fortress of independence and confidence doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, one that involves questioning, self-reflection, and yes, sometimes swimming against the current. But the reward, it's immeasurable. It's waking up each day knowing that the life you're living is authentically yours, shaped by your choices, guided by your values, and unswayed by the fleeting judgments of others. Remember, the opinions of others are like the weather, constantly changing, sometimes pleasant, other times stormy. Would you let a rainy day decide your life's path? Unlikely. So why give others' opinions that power? Stoicism doesn't advocate for a life lived in isolation, ignoring the wisdom and insights of those around us. Rather, it encourages us to be discerning, to sift through the noise and find the nuggets of wisdom that resonate with our inner compass. By anchoring ourselves in our own reasoned judgment, we stand firm, not as islands, but as lighthouses, shining our unique light, guided by our virtues, and perhaps, in our own way, illuminating a path for others. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, be content to seem what you really are. So, let's peel off the costumes, set aside the scripts written by others, and embark on the most thrilling performance of all, a life lived true to ourselves, a testament to the strength of our character and the clarity of our judgment. Never seek revenge.
The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury.
Have you ever felt that burning desire to get back at someone for a wrong they've done to you? That intense itch for revenge that seems like it'll never go away until you've evened the score. We've all been there, standing at the crossroads of retaliation and forgiveness, feeling like avenging ourselves is the only way to wipe the slate clean. But pause for a moment and consider this. What if choosing the path of forgiveness could actually be the more powerful, more liberating choice? Stoicism offers a refreshing take on this dilemma, one that involves employing reason before it is consumed by revenge. It tells us that harboring resentment and plotting revenge are like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only ends up harming ourselves. Stoicism encourages us to break free from this cycle of anger and vengeance, urging us to see the bigger picture. Imagine for a moment the weight of carrying around a backpack filled with stones, each stone representing a grudge or a desire for revenge. Day after day, it gets heavier, weighing you down, and hindering your journey towards personal growth and inner peace. Now, imagine the relief of setting that backpack down, letting go of the stones, and moving forward lighter, unburdened. This doesn't mean that forgiveness is easy or that it excuses the wrongdoings of others. Far from it. Forgiveness, according to Stoicism, is an act of strength and courage. It's about choosing to respond with reason and compassion, focusing on healing and growth rather than sinking into the quagmire of bitterness and resentment. It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes, that we're all human, and that holding on to anger ties us to the past in a way that prevents us from living fully in the present. By forgiving, we're not saying, "What you did is okay," but rather, "I choose not to let what you did control my emotions or dictate my actions." We reclaim our power, our peace of mind, and take a stand for our well-being. We focus on what we can control, our actions, responses, and attitudes, rather than getting caught up in a cycle of retribution that brings no real resolution or peace. Choosing forgiveness over revenge doesn't mean we become doormats or turn a blind eye to injustice. On the contrary, it means we act with integrity, guided by our principles and values. We seek justice through the right channels, aiming for solutions that restore balance and harmony rather than exacerbating conflict. In the end, forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, a step towards freeing our hearts from the shackles of anger and moving towards a life marked by peace, growth, and fulfillment. The words of Marcus Aurelius echo, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Let us then choose the higher road, the road less traveled by, and find in it our strength, dignity, and peace. Preparation is prudence.
Make the mind adaptable to any circumstances. External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them which you can erase right now.
Imagine waking up to a day that feels like a steep, uphill battle before it's even begun. You're scrambling, reacting to every curveball thrown your way, and by the end of it, you're left wondering, how did I get here? It's like setting sail without a map or compass, disorienting and fraught with uncertainty. Now picture a different start. You rise with the sun, a plan in hand, and a clear vision of where you're heading. The day's challenges still appear, as they always will, but this time you meet them with readiness and resolve. The difference? Preparation and a proactive mindset, two keystones of Stoic philosophy. Preparation, according to Stoic principles, isn't about predicting every outcome, but about cultivating an adaptable and resilient mindset that can handle various scenarios. It's about acknowledging that while we cannot control the wind, we can adjust our sails. This forward-thinking approach encourages us to live intentionally, aligning our actions with our deepest values and principles, rather than being swayed by the shifting sands of external circumstances or the heat of the moment. Starting each endeavor with clarity and preparation means we're not just reacting to life, we're actively shaping it. We turn our goals and values into a compass that guides our decisions, big and small, ensuring that we're moving in the direction we truly want to go. This proactive stance empowers us to tackle challenges head-on, with the confidence that comes from knowing we've done our homework, we've planned our route, and we're equipped to adjust course as needed. By adopting a proactive mindset, we foster a sense of inner tranquility. We know that, come what may, we've prepared ourselves not just to endure, but to thrive. This peace of mind frees us to focus on what truly matters, cultivating our virtues, nurturing our relationships, and contributing positively to the world around us. As you face the days ahead, remember the Stoic call to preparation and foresight. Approach each task, each interaction, with the intentionality of an expert chess player thinking several moves ahead, not out of fear or anxiety, but out of a commitment to live fully, wisely, and virtuously. In doing so, you set the stage for a life not just lived, but lived well, according to the principles that matter most to you. Be less reachable.
For nowhere either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble does a man retire than into his own soul, particularly when he has within him such thoughts that by looking into them he is immediately in perfect tranquility. And I affirm that tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind.
Ever feel like you're always on, constantly checking your phone, email, or social media, as if the world might spin off its axis if you take a moment to just breathe? It's as though we've all signed an invisible contract to be perpetually available, a state of being that's become the new normal in our hyper-connected era. But at what cost? Our peace of mind, our ability to focus deeply, and perhaps most importantly, our capacity for introspection and growth are all compromised. Stoicism, with its timeless wisdom, offers a counter-narrative, championing the value of setting boundaries on our availability for the sake of our well-being and personal growth. Imagine for a moment the tranquility of a quiet room, free from the constant pings and buzzes of notifications. In this space, you're not just absent from the digital world, you're profoundly present with yourself. This is where Stoicism nudges us toward finding strength, clarity, and wisdom in silence and solitude. It's not about shunning society or technology, but about creating intentional pockets of time where we're unreachable by choice. Why? Because it's in these moments of deliberate unavailability that we can engage in deep work and philosophical reflection, essential practices for anyone committed to personal growth and living virtuously. Stoicism teaches us the importance of introspection and the cultivation of our inner lives. By periodically stepping back from the ceaseless demands on our attention, we honor our need for periods of solitude where we can reflect on our actions, choices, and the direction of our lives. This isn't isolation, but a strategic retreat, allowing us to return to the world more focused, energized, and aligned with our values. In practicing this Stoic principle, we learn to prioritize our mental space and time for activities that nurture our virtues and contribute to our well-being. It's a powerful reminder that, amidst the noise and demands of the outside world, our inner peace and clarity must come first. By setting boundaries around our availability, we ensure that our engagement with others is not only meaningful and purposeful, but also informed by a clear and calm mind. This approach to living isn't just about managing our time, it's about managing our attention, our energy, and ultimately our life's direction. It encourages us to ask ourselves, are we merely reacting to the world around us, or are we acting intentionally, guided by our reasoned convictions and a commitment to virtue? By choosing periods of unavailability, we make a statement about the value we place on our tranquility, our personal growth, and our ability to contribute to the world in a way that's thoughtful, intentional, and deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the demands of our always-on culture, remember that it's not just okay to unplug and create space for solitude and reflection, it's essential. In doing so, you're not just reclaiming your time, you're reclaiming your life, guiding it with the wisdom and tranquility that Stoicism so beautifully advocates. 9. Don't misunderstand Stoicism. Isn't it fascinating how ancient wisdom, penned down centuries ago, still holds the power to cut through the noise of our modern lives, offering us a compass in the midst of our digital chaos? Think about it. In a world where our attention is pulled in a million directions, where the pressure to keep up can feel overwhelming, the 9 Stoic Don'ts we explored today serve as a reminder to pause, breathe, and recalibrate. Together, they don't just hand us a rule book, they offer a palette and invite us to paint our masterpiece. They teach us to see beyond the tempest, to find serenity in the storm, and to realize that true strength lies in calm waters. As we stand at the threshold of what's next, let's not view these teachings as a conclusion, but as a beginning, a foundation upon which to build. Let's carry these lessons as lanterns, illuminating the path ahead. Each don't is indeed a stepping stone, leading us not away from danger but towards our true selves, towards a life not defined by what we avoid, but by what we embrace. Remember, the essence of these teachings is not found in rigid adherence to rules, but in their application to the ebb and flow of everyday life. Let the wisdom of the Stoics be your guide, not just in moments of reflection, but in the heat of the moment, in the rush of the day. It's here, in the crucible of the ordinary, that we forge a life of extraordinary virtue and happiness. As always, if you feel helped, then feel free to join our tribe too. How, you ask? By hitting that like button as a symbol of your commitment to change. By subscribing to join a community where wisdom isn't just shared but lived, to help us create powerful stuff. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, the gentle chime of a Stoic philosopher, reminding you to return to this space of learning and growth. Each like, each subscription, each notification is a step towards a collective awakening. And if you feel that stirring in your heart, that resonance with the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, share this video. That will help us immensely in continuing to create powerful and unique stuff for the community.